Will Airbnb recover after the coronavirus pandemic? Will some people lose out? Or will some people gain? Well, I have answers to this, so let's just jump straight in, and I'll see you on the other side. So there's no doubt that the whole board of Airbnb has totally changed. Literally overnight, hundreds and thousands of Airbnb hosts lost all their bookings and all their income. This put a lot of hosts in a precarious situation. Without income, how could they pay their rates, their taxes? And for those who are doing rent-to-rent arbitrage, how are they going to pay the landlords the rental that they are needing to pay without the income of the hosts? Very quickly, we saw a couple of Airbnb hosts change their strategy to accommodate people during lockdowns, to accommodate first emergency response people, and just to try and see how they could adapt their listings to cater for this unprecedented situation. As we start moving out of the situation, of which there will be a decrease of the severity of the situation, we are going to see opportunities like we have not seen before. Now, this is going to mean the demise of a few hosts, and a couple of other hosts are going to take advantage of this. So what I mean by the demise of some hosts are going to say, this is no longer for me. The process of Airbnb was good while it lasted, but now it is just too much risk. The risk of having empty units, the risk of the uncertainty of, is tourism going to come back? Are people going to travel? Whether it's for work, for business, for pleasure, there's an uncertainty to this. For those who are doing rental arbitrage, who then have a large portfolio of rent-to-rent apartments that still have to pay rent to landlords, they might go and say, this is just not for me either. Those investors who have apartments that they're running as Airbnbs are also going to be thinking twice about this, because they've got bonds to pay if they've mortgaged their properties, and they're now also sitting with an uncertainty. And although this is not going to be something which is suddenly from day one to day two, we're going to see a very quick change around of, well, I've got no bookings to suddenly I'm booked up again. There's going to be a transition phase which could last from weeks to months to possibly even years of getting back into the routine of Airbnb bookings, getting listed as people start moving more. Here in South Africa, we have got lockdown, which at this moment no one can move. So there's no possibility of your unit being booked out unless it's been booked out by someone who is able to move or is listed as an emergency response person or emergency service person. So this means that as we come out of lockdown, there's going to be a shift of how we're using our listings. And in this case, this is exactly what I want to talk into. It's still going to take months for people to feel confident to move around. At this stage, not many people are going to be moving around after lockdown because there's still the threat of catching the virus. Just because we move out of lockdown does not mean or signify that suddenly it is safe and the virus is contained. We're going to feel nervous about getting into airplanes. We're going to feel nervous about going into supermarkets. We're going to feel nervous about going to gyms. There's going to be a very slow transition of a lot of people being extra cautious and staying at home or staying isolated or limiting their travels and going into unfamiliar places as much as possible. They're going to think twice about just checking in a unit without knowing who's been there before. What is the length of time between the guest that was there previously and the guest and themselves there now? Was it cleaned really well? Was it disinfected? Was everything, the handles, the cupboards, the taps, were all of those disinfected? Or is there's an uncertainty? So there's going to be that period of time. And for many people, many hosts who cannot stomach this uncertainty, they're going to want to check out of this. They're going to want to offload their apartments and change their strategy. So I foresee for those hosts who say that this is not for them anymore, they will begin to sell their apartments, or they will start to look for a long-term tenant and move away from the Airbnb model. And I'm going to chat about both of those options, because those are opportunities. If you have the courage and you have the faith and you have the skills and the expertise and the strategies to take advantage of this, then this could be a total game changer for you. And this is, for me, the exciting part. The strategies, the insight, and the ability to position myself and yourself in such a way that we can actually reap the rewards of this, not at the cost of the landlord or of the owner of the property. Remember, we're not trying to take advantage of their demise. We're wanting to offer them a solution in such a way that there's actually a win-win benefit. So let's jump straight into that. In the first scenario, a host who has an apartment, who has been running Airbnb, might say, this is not for me. I've got too much cost to pay. I can't let this out. I'm actually wanting out of Airbnb. Most likely as well because it was too hands-on for them. They had not automated their systems, put things in place so that this was streamlined, and they're just saying this is the last straw, I want out. If it is that they choose to sell, it is most likely that they will sell rent ready. In other words, with furniture and everything in it. Because what else are they going to do with that furniture if they've got one or a couple of apartments or units? So this is going to be an opportunity for you, the buyer, to find a unit that has already been run as an Airbnb, probably fairly successful, that will literally be rent ready. And in this case, you could take early occupation and pay the seller rent on that unit while transfer happens. And of course, everything is set up, which means most likely you could take over the photographs. You could take over everything about the process, the linen, everything that's so that it is literally set up and rent ready. Of course, you will bring in your own touch such that you can elevate your listing so that you can dominate your competition, like all the strategies I share with all my students around how to make this work. But this is literally an opportunity for you to take over something and just perfect it as opposed to starting from scratch. So that's the first thing. If you're able to buy an apartment or a unit, it's literally going to be rent ready with all the furniture in place and with the whole setup, the cleaners and all of that which could already be there. The second option is that it is an owner who is shifting from doing short-term letting, in other words Airbnb, to a more long-term let. In other words, they want one tenant for 12 months. Now, whether they are totally out of Airbnb or whether they just want to do this for the next transition phase, this will be one of the easiest times to negotiate with a landlord that you can rent from the landlord and then sublet on Airbnb. In other words, use it as your unit on Airbnb, which is commonly known as rental arbitrage. In other words, you're renting from the landlord for 10,000 Rand and you're going to sublet an Airbnb and you're going to keep all the income such that you're going to benefit and profit from the difference that you're paying to the landlord, but you're getting on income from Airbnb. And this is usually what's going to be the easiest time than in any other time to actually find those units and negotiate with the landlord. Because as many of us know, a lot of landlords are uncertain about Airbnb or renting to sublet on short-term letting. And if you don't have the specific script or the specific insights into how to unlock and persuade and negotiate with the landlord, you will have found that it's incredibly difficult to find apartments where the landlord is happy to rent to you as the tenant and then for you to sublet an Airbnb. Now, that can be done, and I again teach all my students a specific script that unlocks that and gets that landlord to say, yes, please actually take my apartment. But in this scenario that we've seen coming up, this will be the easiest time that I've ever known for this to happen. And there are two reasons why this will be the case. One, the landlord probably already knows that Airbnb can be a successful model because they've been running it. It's just in this stage, they just don't want to take risk. It's too much effort. There's too much uncertainty. They might not have the courage to take on or to carry it on. So because they already understand it, know that it is possible, and therefore will be already more likely to say to you, yes. Secondly, it's actually all going to be rent ready. Right? So this is something which is already all in place. Everything is there, and you're the one that's literally going to take it over, start your new listing and let it run. And that means that there's considerable less effort from your side to actually get this up and going. And from my side, those are the kind of deals that I'm going to be looking for. Those opportunities where landlords are saying, I know Airbnb works, but I don't want to do the Airbnb. You can do it as a long-term tenant. You can take over or take out a lease with them so that you can actually take advantage of this. You're the one that's going to be the long-term tenant now for 12 months, and you're the one that is going to then sublet on Airbnb. And of course, I always say that you need to make sure that the landlord knows what you're going to do and has it declared in the lease that you have written permission from the landlord to use this as a short-term rental on platforms such as Airbnb, Booking.com, Lekker or any other channel that you wish to try the short-term rental from. So again, in this scenario, you are getting an opportunity to get rent-ready units, apartments, and access to the photographs, which really mean that you can actually get going and start right from square one, or start right as things start to ease up, instead of having to spend a lot of time trying to get everything in place, the furniture, photographs, and coordinate this all. This is an opportunity for you to expand your rental arbitrage portfolio because of the ease in which this is going to happen. And we're going to see a lot of Airbnb landlords also wanting to rent their apartments furnished, because where else are they going to put their furniture if they just let out to a normal tenant? So in South Africa here, we have about 80% of people who want a unfurnished apartment. So if there are now more of these landlords who are saying, well, please, I'm willing to rent my apartment furnished, it again pushes you to the top of the list. And this is an opportunity that you can really take advantage of. Of course, this is all legal. It's legit. These are great opportunities. And the key criteria is for you to have the courage to see the opportunity and to take it. And that courage can also be determined by the degree of confidence that you have. And that confidence is based on your insight, your strategies, and your ability to position your unit so that you can take advantage of the situation that we're moving into. This could be your chance to totally turn around your whole strategy that you have been using until now. This could be your opportunity to dominate your competition around you by using the successful strategies that I share and I teach with my students, so that you have that confidence to take advantage of this and significantly make a difference to your life. So what is it that you need to do to start preparing for this? Well, first and foremost, make sure that you've got a lease that you can actually use with the landlord so that there's no time wasted. Secondly, really get clear on what are the benefits of you being the tenant for the landlord. And this I deal with in the landlord script, which is very specifically laid out all the benefits so that the landlord actually can position themselves to see that this is actually in their best interest, that they're not being taken advantage of, and that it makes them actually say, well, you know, I've got this unit and I've got another whole a lot of other units. That's our experience. And once the landlords that we rent from experience the quality and the value that we bring and add to them, it totally changes their mindset, and they're actually therefore valuing us as being their tenant, that they actually offer us a whole lot of their other units for use on Airbnb, because they understand the value that we bring to them. The second thing is make sure that you're also storing or creating a nest egg of enough cash, because you're going to want to obviously put down in a rental arbitrage rental deposits. So again, we're starting to prepare ourselves that if we're wanting to expand by 3, 4, or 5 units, you're going to make sure that you've got enough to put down for the rental deposit and then to get going. So these are just some of the things that we're thinking about that you can follow on my YouTube channel and on my Facebook page. All these details that we're sharing with our students and with other people out there to position themselves to actually be in the perfect spot to see what's coming and to have the courage and confidence to take advantage of it.